If you're relying on MLS right now, you're not going to get the job done. It's not good enough. I love MLS. We talked about this in my podcast last week. I think MLS is a wonderful thing. But if you're solving your buyer's problem and you're trying to get MLS to do your job for you, like we've been able to do in the past, right now is not good enough, which means you will become part of the crew that is exiting the industry. So what are you doing to solve that buyer's problem? They can't find a home. What are you doing? Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm John Darden, and this is the Elite Realtor Experience, a podcast dedicated to agents ready to take the next step in becoming elite. There are two really big problems in this crazy real estate market that we're in right now. This historic, unbelievable seller's market where there's one listing for every 4 agents. There are massive amounts of buyers pouring into every single home, historic number of approved buyers, historic shortage of sellers putting their homes on the market, which leads us to two very big problems. And realtor, you need to understand that your job is to solve problems. That's your only job. Yes, you open doors. Yes, you run comps. Yes, you price homes. Yes, we do the matchmaking thing. All that is great, but the foundational piece of what we do is solve problems. And there's two very, very big problems in our market right now. And these two problems are leading a lot of people out of the industry. There are a lot of excellent realtors who are beginning to pour out of this industry. And we thought this was going to happen last year with COVID, but the opposite happened. A record number of folks got their real estate license during 2020. But what's already beginning to happen now is we're seeing a record number of realtors get out of the industry because they can't solve these two problems, which means they're not selling homes, which means they're not making any money. Problem number one, our buyers can't find a home. There's nowhere to go. You've got lots of ready, willing, and able buyers. They're approved, their financing looks great, credit's amazing, DTI is phenomenal, but you can't find them anything because a great home pops up and there's 15 offers on it immediately, 5 of them sight unseen. There are people lining up outside of the property to get in to take a look at it. It does not matter what part of the country you're in. We are in a historic seller's market, which leads to this huge problem. You've got buyers, which means you have paychecks, just speaking from a business standpoint, you have paychecks ready to go. You have money to put in your bank account, but you can't put it anywhere because you cannot find your buyer a home. This is problem number one. Now, we're trying to solve this problem, right? And we're trying to solve it by posting our needs on our local Facebook realtor pages and communicating and being open and having good dialogue with other realtors, which is a very, very helpful thing. But National Association of Realtors last year made it very, very hard for us to do what we need to do in our current market. And I'm not typically critical of NAR. However, when they got rid of the coming soon piece of marketing that we used to do, where we could go in and we could tell realtors, hey, in the next month, I've got this awesome home coming up. Here are the specs. We're going to price it around this. We're getting some updates done. And that was great because we always kind of knew ahead of time what was coming up. But NAR said no more. And there are valid reasons for that, for sure. But stepping into the market we're in now, that coming soon being axed out of our repertoire of tools has made it challenging. Because now we cannot tell other realtors, right, hey, I've got this property coming up, unless we're putting in the market within the next 24 hours, which does not do us any good. So NAR has made it challenging for you to do your job. The problem is you have buyers and you have nowhere to put them. What are you doing? What is your solution? How are you finding ready, willing, and able buyers approved? They've got the down payment. They're ready to go. What are you doing to solve this problem? Some of you are changing the way that you type up your contracts, and each state is a little bit different, but it almost feels like most buyer's agents have cut out the home warranty as part of the process for the seller to pay for the buyer. That's one thing that you can do if that's part of your state's contract. Some of you are in areas where it's pretty typical for the seller to pay for title policy. Well, most of you now are switching to where the buyer is paying the title policy, which strengthens your offer. You're upping your earnest money amount. If earnest money is part of what you do in your state, or your escrow money down, different states call it different things, but typically there's this like initial money that transacts from the buyer to the title company in good faith. Many of you are doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of earnest or good faith money that goes down initially. For those of you that deal in inspection periods and option periods, many of you are just getting rid of those, saying, look, buyer's going to buy it no matter what. And that's good. Those are good things. Competitively, you're setting your buyers up to make their contracts look better, but still, that's not good enough. Not right now. So what are you doing to solve your buyers' problems? MLS is not good enough right now. It's just not. Agent, you need to understand. And as talking to a friend who owns a brokerage in Phoenix, they usually have around 30,000 homes on the market. There's 2,900 homes on the market. She sent me a picture of a new listing that had dozens of offers on it already, brand new to market, and there were lines of at least 100 people waiting to see the property. If you're relying on MLS right now, you're not going to get the job done. It's not good enough. I love MLS. We talked about this in my podcast last week. I think MLS is a wonderful thing. But if you're solving your buyer's problem and you're trying to get MLS to do your job for you, like we've been able to do in the past, right now is not good enough, which means you will become part of the crew that is exiting the industry. So what are you doing to solve that buyer's problem? They can't find a home. What are you doing? Well, some strategic things that successful agents are doing across the country is they're going and they're finding the home for the buyer, aka completely off market, not on MLS, and their buyer is the only one that knows about it, which we can do. According to NAR, as long as we're upfront with the seller, we are able to do that. So what does that look like? Well, let me tell you again what some successful agents are doing across the country. Some agents are literally picking up the phone and calling homeowner after homeowner after homeowner. And this is painstaking, but again, your job is to solve the problem of your buyer. Hello, this is John with such and such realty. I have a buyer looking for a home in your neighborhood. They are approved. Their first names are blank and blank. Do you have any interest in selling your home? Nope. Okay, no worries. Next. Hey, this is John Darden with ABC Realty. I have a buyer looking for such and such in your neighborhood. Do you have any interest in selling your home? No? Okay, great. Next, over and over and over until they find somebody who, you know what, I might be interested. Okay, great. Please let me come see your home, tour me through your home, show me around. Let's talk about price. Let's see if we can work a deal, and then I can help you on the back end as well. This is what a lot of successful people are doing right now. Another way to do that is agents are sending letters to strategic neighborhoods in different parts of their area and saying, hey, look, historic shortage. I have ready, willing, and able buyers. We've talked about this on old podcasts before, so that's nothing new. At the end of the day, what successful agents are doing, whether they're picking up the phone, calling, whether they're door knocking neighborhoods, whether they're sending letters, running Facebook ads, they are finding the home for the buyer off market. Because again, MLS is so ultra competitive right now that it's almost impossible for you to solve your buyer's problem of finding their dream home by just scouring MLS. What some brokerages are doing, and NAR I know is not fond of this, but again, as long as you're upfront with your seller, your potential client, that this is what you're doing and they agree to it, then it is okay, is brokerages are compiling lists of properties, of homes, of homeowners, of sellers that would be interested in selling their home if they had somewhere to go. Right now, there's the problem is, let's say you own a home, you're interested in selling, but you know it's a crazy seller's market and you're afraid of having somewhere to go or finding somewhere to go. So you're not going to put your home on the market because you don't want to be homeless. Well, what brokerages are doing is they're compiling lists of these people and they're just playing matchmaker. I talked to this person, they would fit this home well, and the middle person here, the original seller, would be great for this home. And so they're playing matchmaker, matchmaker, matchmaker off MLS. Again, NAR does not love that, but it is not illegal, and you can do that as long as you are upfront and communicate and have permission from the seller that that is okay to do. That is one way to solve this problem. Again, you can make the contract very seller friendly, or you can go and find potential sellers for your buyer on your own. And in my opinion, you're repping both sides that way, which I always think is great. Plus, you're probably helping that seller find their next home as well. Now, problem number 2 is on the flip side. It's kind of the same problem, but it's looking at it from the other perspective. No listings. 1 listing for every 4 realtors nationally right now. That is unreal. That is insane. And if you know anything about top agents in real estate markets, the ones that do the best are the ones with the most names and signs and yards. So the agents that have always been the most successful are rarely, if ever, buyer's agents. Not saying that you can't do well as a buyer's agent, but you can't be tip-top as a buyer's agent. That's just a fact. Agents that typically are dominating their marketplace are the ones that have the most listings. List to last. You've probably heard the phrase before. But there's no listings. Same problem on the seller's side, but this is your problem, agent, because if the end-all be-all of real estate is to be listing agent, which it should be, we're in a historic seller's market with a shortage of homes. Where are you getting listings from? How are you getting listings? You can have all the buyers in the world right now in this market, but that doesn't mean a dang thing. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you have all the buyers all day long. You're going to find somewhere for them to go. You're going to find homes that fit what they're looking for, and you can rely on MLS. But now you can't. Having all the buyers in the world is actually not a good thing right now. Because again, it's like a tease, right? It's like there's this perfect human being for you that you just are in love with. And that person's dropping little hints that they like you too, but every time you try to get close, they run away. It just makes life worse. It's like, oh, yes, I got this. Oh, wait, no, you're running away from me. That's kind of what it's like representing a bunch of buyers right now. In the ideal world, you're the listing agent. And this is the beautiful part about real estate is that you should be creating your ideal world. No one is in charge of you. No one is your boss. And if you're on a team where you can't list, that's challenging, right? And I'm not going to tell you to jump off team because I don't want to make your team leader mad at me. But like at the end of the day, you will never become a top agent if you cannot list. And maybe you're fine with that. So if you're a buyer's agent, you can't list, then you can ignore this part. But if you are able to list, this is what your focus should be right now, is finding listings. You need to be the Volturi looking down amongst the peasants. And you can use some of the scripts and tactics that I just gave you for the buyers, if you've got buyers. And if you do have buyers, that does give you a legitimate opportunity to call through, comb through neighborhoods, comb through zip codes, through school districts, whatever's pertinent to your buyers, and just try to generate as many leads as possible. Oftentimes, lead generation strategies are full of some dirtiness because you have to pretend like there's a need. There's no pretending going on, and I never, ever encourage anybody to make up a story as to why you need to see somebody's home. I think that lacks integrity. I don't think that's a good way to do the business. But right now, you don't have to make up a need. The greatest, largest, biggest need in the history of the real estate market is happening right now. It is your job, therefore, to take advantage of this opportunity and solve the problems, not only of your buyers, but the problem you have yourself, which is you don't have your name on signs in front of yards. So what do you need to be doing to generate listings? Do you need to be calling for sell by owners? Because there's plenty of FSBOs in every single market nationwide right now. Maybe you need to, whether you feel like it or not, you're motivated or not, you're scared or not, just pick up the phone and start calling and reaching out to for sale by owners. What a great script of historic sellers market. Your home hasn't sold yet, which is shocking. I can help get your home sold. What are you trying to accomplish? Why are you trying to sell? Go into your for sale by owner script. Picking up the phone, again, calling through zip codes. I have a buyer needing this. I have a buyer needing that. Or if you don't have any buyers, historic sellers market, I can get your home sold very, very quickly. Tell me what you're looking for so I can be on the lookout for what's next, which is probably why you're not putting your home on the market yet, because you don't want to be homeless. Come up with a reason, or not a reason, come up with a solution to solve the problem that people have so that when you call, you are a valuable resource and not a salesperson. Hello, Mrs. Such and Such at this address. You have any interest in selling your home, historic sellers market? Yes, John, I do, but I'm afraid to put it on the market because I don't want to be homeless. No worries. Totally get that. Totally understand that. Tell me what you're looking for. I will go find that as well. And then you play matchmaker, matchmaker, matchmaker until you freaking find it. And then you stick a sign in the yard with your name and sold, and you look like the freaking baller. Or you know what? Actually, we're moving to Chicago. We've been talking about selling for a while now. I just got the official word that the transfer is being happened and we need to sell our home. Great. You went out, you hunted, and you found it. Now is the time, agent, for you to get back to the basics of real estate, whether you've been in the business for 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, 200 years, I don't care. This is a market where those that hunt will be the ones that thrive. So many of you are just trying to survive this crazy market right now. You can thrive if you will get up off of your butt and do the things that you know you need to do. It requires you go out and hunt, not hope that the right home pops up on MLS, not hope that a past client calls you and wants to sell their home. Hope is not going to get you anywhere in this market. You've got to hunt for your buyer to solve problem number one, and you've got to hunt for yourself to solve problem number two. Not enough listings for our buyers, no listings for you. Humongous opportunity, but it requires you get off your butt and do the things you have to do to go and hunt for the business instead of hoping that it falls into your lap. This is kind of a throwback, some of the old podcasts that we've been talking about, but it all comes full circle at some point. You're starting to close the loop on this thing, I hope. If you want to be successful in today's market, you got to solve these two problems. Find something for your buyer, find something for yourself. You can thrive in this market or you can fizzle away. The beauty of real estate is that it's completely and totally up to you. See you soon.